Clerk will call the roll.
Glenn Whitley, County Judge.
Here.
Roy C. Brooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Marty Van Ravensway, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner Precinct 3. J.D. Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4. Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation this morning will be delivered by Rabbi Charlie Citron Walker from the Congressional Beth Israel in Colleyville. Thank you very much for coming out today. After the invocation, please remain standing for our pledges.
As the Commissioners' Court opens this Election Day morning, we ask God, whatever you conceive God to be, to open our hearts and our minds to one another, especially after bearing witness throughout the political season to such strife and contention, outrageous attacks, and a basic lack of dignity and respect. We do pray that we can recognize the good in one another. In Jewish tradition, Hillel and Shammai, the two great schools of thought, were seen as equally valid, even though they disagreed on almost everything. But it was the school of Hillel that Jews continue to follow today due to their humility and careful consideration of opposing points of view. From that tradition, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah taught over 1,800 years ago, where there is no wisdom, there will be no reverence. And where there is no reverence, there will be no wisdom. Where there is no understanding, there will be no knowledge. And where there is no knowledge, there will be no understanding. On this day and every day, we pray that this court be granted the wisdom of good judgment and reverence for both the rule of law and the dignity and frailty within all of us. May this court be granted understanding that begins with humility and the knowledge that leads them and all of us to justice, compassion, and truth. We thank you for this court, for its work, and for the opportunity to take part in our democracy. Ken Yehי Ratzon. May this be God's will.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, Rabbi, for coming out this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Manius, agenda announcements.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the Court, we have one announcement for the Court this morning that deals with the Purchasing Department, item 8J2. This is bid number 2010-012. We're going to ask that that particular item be held for 1 week. Thank you.
Thank you. Court members, you have before you the minutes of our regular meeting of October the 26th.
Move approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next, we have our proclamations, and the first proclamation is Veterans Awareness Week, and I will read that into the record. Whereas it is appropriate to salute the tens of thousands of men and women who have served and are serving in America's armed forces, and whereas it is also appropriate that during the past century, hundreds of thousands of Americans have given their lives while serving in the armed forces, and whereas each November Veterans Day is set aside as a time to honor those brave men and women who have so ably served in the armed forces of the United States, and whereas the contributions and sacrifices of the men and women who have served and are serving in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and way of life enjoyed by the people of the United States. And whereas while we can never hope to fully repay these courageous men and women for their distinguished service to our nation, we can and must show our appreciation for their sacrifice. And whereas Veterans Day is observed on November the 11th, regardless of what day of the week on which it falls, to preserving the historical significance of the dates and focus attention on the important purpose of Veterans Day, a celebration to honor American veterans for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Commissioners' Court of Tarrant County, do hereby proclaim the week of November 7th through 13th, 2010, as Veterans Awareness Week. And further, we urge all citizens of Tarrant County to increase the understanding of the contributions of veterans in our communities and take part in scheduled events and educational activities. In witness whereof, we have heretofore set our hands and caused the Great Seal of Tarrant County to be affixed the second day of November 2010.
Move. I'll second your motion.
We've got a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Again, we want to certainly thank all those folks who have served and who continue to serve so that we can enjoy the freedoms, including the election day that we're certainly looking at today. Next is the proclamation for Home Care and Hospice Month, and that is for ratification only, and I'll move its approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. And now we come to one of the favorite times of the month, and that's our employee recognition. And so I will call the names of the employees in the various categories and ask you to stand, and then at the end of that particular category, we'll give a round of applause and thanks to those employees in that. And we'll begin with our 5-year employees. The first 5-year employee is David Allen with the Sheriff's Department. There's David. Joe Berry with Juvenile Services. Not keep standing. Don't sit down over there, David. I saw you about to try to sit down on me. Cynthia Boykin from CSCD. Philip Argyle from Sheriff Confinement. Ron Chapman from Sheriff Warrants. Andrea Corder from Medical Examiner. Gina Navarro from Juvenile Services. Joseph Fortney, Sheriff Confinement. Randy Garcia, Sheriff Warrants. Jeff Hampton, District Attorney's Office. Tracy Jones, Sheriff Confinement. Casey Krall, Juvenile Services. Anita Curian, Public Health. Benjamin Lambert, Sheriff Courts. Benjamin. Carol Lawson, Medical Examiner. Al Azarias, District Attorney's Office. Heather McGregor, Justice of the Peace, Precinct 2. There's Heather. Ann Mackey, Transportation Services. Ann. Catherine McComber, Juvenile Services. Again, if it sounds like it, stand up. Brenda Nash, Sheriff Confinement. Candace Pugh, Public Health. Billy Robinson, Sheriff Warrants. Regina Townsend, Sheriff Confinement. And Carlanda Tyson, Sheriff Confinement. These are our 5-year employees. Let's give them a big hand. Next are our 10-year employees, and we'll begin with Jesse Bollendraw, I think, Precinct 1 Maintenance. Was I close, Commissioner?
Is there a Jesse here?
Is there a Jesse here? Yeah.
He's working this morning.
Carolyn Bedford, County Clerk. Lena Brazel, Human Resources. Renee sometimes I'm better off if I just don't look at the pronunciation as they say it. Castorino, Public Health. And he's already up. Blanco De La Torre, Public Health. Ramon Garcia, Sheriff, North Patrol. Wesley Gray, Juvenile Services. Kenneth Huffman, Sheriff Confinement. Bridget Hughes, Public Health. Melvie Hudson, Sheriff Confinement. James Kigley, Sheriff Confinement. John Pinkleton, Sheriff Confinement. Jose Reyes, Juvenile Services, Dale Sanford, Sheriff Confinement. Michael Schroeder, Information Technology. David Spear, Juvenile Services. Deanne Thomas, Juvenile Services. And Sherry Williams, Public Health. These are our 10-year employees. Let's give them a big hand. For our 15-year employees, George Atek, CSCD. Thomas Chenault, Domestic Relations. Sherry Ferguson, District Clerk. Daryl Gamboa, Information Technologies. Walter Spears, Constable, Precinct 1. Tabitha Stevenson, County Clerk. Charles Wassman, Sheriff Warrants. Tracy Wilson, Medical Examiners. Novella Young, Medical Examiners. Let's give our 15-year employees a hand. And now for our 20-plus year employees, we ask them to stand individually, and I have a chance to give them a call and talk with them a little bit about their time with the county. Our first 20-year employee this morning is Carl Garrett, Sheriff Confinement. Carl started out in the confinement on Thanksgiving Day. He said he's had 2 jobs in his lifetime. He spent 26 years in the Army, and then he came to the county. He started in the Belknap facility under Sheriff Carpenter. I thought this was in it. He said, I've worked in all the jails and all the shifts. So he said, I've got a pretty good idea and pretty good feel for what goes on over there 24/7. He's also worked in the classification and the booking area, so he really has the jail down from A to Z. When I asked him his more memorable time, he said, it was the opportunity to work in the booking and the classification area, and some of the folks that he had a chance to meet as they came through there. And he wasn't talking about just the people who came through there to be registered in and out, I don't think. When I asked him what he liked most, he said it was the teamwork among the folks that worked there in the jail, the way they treated each other, would take up for each other, would really kind of take care of one another in times when they needed that. And then he said it was really the honesty and the dedication of the people that he had a chance to work with over the years. Carl, we appreciate very much the 20 years you've given to Tarrant County. Thank you. Next is Mary Jo Gutierrez, 20 years. There's Mary Jo. We kind of share a little bit in common. Our sons grew up together. And in fact, as we talked, I think sometimes my son spent more time at their house than he did at my house, which I thank you for the grocery bills that you ended up taking care of at that point in time. Mary Jo started out in CSCD working in the area of indecent exposure. She's had a chance to work in the sex offender union. Also really kind of put together the chaperone program, and I could tell in talking with her about that was something that she was very proud of. She's now working with Judge Salvant's court as a senior court officer over there. For a while she had a regular caseload, and those first couple of areas will just flat wear you out after a while, and I think when she moved into the regular caseload and then moved into Judge Salvant's area, she's really enjoyed working with the judge. When I asked her about the more memorable moments, she said it was the way that the department had treated her when her parents had gotten sick, and she needed time, she needed help, And she said people were always there to help and to make sure that, that she was kind of taken care of. When I asked her what she likes most, she said it had to be the people that she worked with, and she said she just loved working with Judge Salvan and the job that he did. She said, that court, Judge Salvan Court, has the lowest revocation rate of all the courts. She said it has been a great 20 years with the department, and I tell you what, Mary Jo, we appreciate very much the 20 years you've given us. Thank you. Next is Judge Molly Jones. Judge started out with in the magistrate court, and then I guess in '90 went over to the felony courts. Ran for CCC number 6 when Judge Adcock retired in 1997. Now I'm going back and trying to remember. Some of my hand scratching is a little work. What happened is that she was appointed to the magistrate court by the felony court judges in 1990. When I asked her what she liked most, she said the people that she's had a chance to work with. She said, I just love what I'm getting a chance to do and loved serving in her court. One of the things that I think needs to be brought out and is especially important with Judge Jones here is her and Judge Mitchell share their court reporter. And that was something that, that they kind of got together and decided. Judge Mitchell, I think, may have brought up the idea, but Judge Jones gave up her court reporter in that process. It's that kind of collaboration. It's that kind of thinking, I think, that goes through and runs throughout Tarrant County, through not only elected officials, but all the department heads. And Judge, we appreciate very much your commitment to the folks of Tarrant County, to the employees, as well as to all the folks that come before your court in the 20 years that you've given us. Thank you very much. Next is Rena McCain, the Sheriff's Warrants area, 20 years. Started out in the Sheriff's Department as a clerk in the Warrants area, went to the academy, got certification, and then came back to her old job until the position in extradition came up. And then after about 10 years, she moved over as the extradition coordinator's desk, where she organizes basically all of the trips of going out, picking folks up, and bringing them back in. When I asked her what she liked most, she said, it was the friends that she's made, the ability to work independently in her particular area, and the people that she's had a chance to work with over the years. She said time has really flown by. She says, I really enjoy sometimes the challenges of getting these folks back here so that they can, have justice here within Tarrant County. And so, Reno, we appreciate very, very much the 20 years you've given to Tarrant County. Thank you. Next is Paula Morales. There she is. She started out in the jury room with Linda Davis. She hand-typed checks to jurors at that point when she started out. And so, you just imagine how far we've come from that particular time frame. After 10 years, she went to probation for about 5 years, I guess, and then came back over as the jury administrator in 2005. When I asked her about the memorable moment, she without even pausing, she said it was the people that she'd had a chance to work with. She said, over time, she says, I have heard some great excuses. She said, I have heard some great. She said one lady came in and she had a demon in her leg. And that demon in her leg was just not going to allow her to serve on that jury. There were some other ones, but I'm even too embarrassed to talk about a couple of them that she mentioned. When I asked her what she liked most, it was all of the people that she'd had a chance to work with. It was growing up really with folks that Tarrant County really served as a real family, and that, I hear that over and over again. But Paula, again, it's folks like you who stay here and who work here and who love the folks that they have a chance to work with that makes this the family atmosphere that I think we enjoy. So let's give Paula, again, next is Lisa Arneson, District Clerk's Office, 25 years. Started out in the District Clerk's office as a records clerk, then moved over to the civil, as a civil associate, civil administrative clerk, then the assistant manager in the civil area, and then in 2004 was transferred over to the family law, I guess the AG and the juvenile area. When I asked her about the more memorable moment, she said, you know, I received a resolution from the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court for basically a design that you and a couple of other folks around the state put together on family law report. She said other memorable moments were watching as the county moved from one district clerk to another. I think she served under 3 different district clerks. And then finally it was the opening of the new buildings. She said, I had the privilege of being there when they opened the new criminal courts building, now the Tim Curry criminal courts building, and then with the Family Law Center. And I think she's looking forward to the civil courts building too, as we'll be bringing that online hopefully in a few years. When I asked her what she liked most, she said it was the privilege to help people at a time when they were kind of lost or maybe in distress. She said when she hears a complaint, she really doesn't look at it as a complaint. She really looks at it as something that maybe they need to go back and look at changing or looking at the way things are done. And I think that speaks volumes, Lisa, about the way you approach things. She said, I love being a county employee. She was very appreciative of the way Suzanne helped her mother when her mother was fighting pancreatic cancer. And she said also the way that Tom supported her. She said that she was very, very thankful of having a chance to work with Mr. Wilder and feels like that he's always looking out. And she was very strong about this. Very strong about this, the way he looked out for the taxpayers, even when it wasn't popular. Yeah, I see that gloating on your face, Wilder.
Checks in the mail, right?
And that he worked very, very hard at what he was doing. And then I think finally, she lost her mother I guess it's been about a year ago. And she said she really wanted to dedicate this recognition to her mom, Elizabeth Stoglin, who worked in the county's clerk's office. And so we're just very, very pleased and very, very proud of the 25 years you've given us, Lisa. Thank you very, very much. Next is Zephyr Guy with CSCD. Was she able to make it? She wasn't sure she was going to be able to make it to court today. She's been in CSCD first as a mail clerk and now works as a supervisor officer's aide. As you see her today, please celebrate and congratulate her for her 25 years of service to the county. Now next, I know this gentleman isn't here because it'd be like pulling teeth to get him to come forward for recognition. Alan Levy has spent so many years with the District Attorney's Office as the head of our criminal division. Thank Alan. If you know Alan, call him today and just torture him for not being down here. So if he gets 50 to 100 calls today, then maybe next time I'd say next time he'd show up, but he's retiring. And so we need to thank Alan for the commitment he's made to Tarrant County. Really he's led us in a lot of different ways, from a technology standpoint, from just running that criminal division under Tim, and it's been a great partnership, and Alan we owe a great deal of thanks to. So call him and tell him how much we appreciate the 25 years he's given us as you see him over the next week or so. Last is Kendall Novak from the District Attorney's Office, 25 years. He also wasn't sure he was going to be able to make it down just because of courts. He's started out in the Sheriff's Department, actually, with Lon Evans, and is now in the Special Crimes area. He just commented over the time that he's had some great bosses, not only in the Sheriff's Department, but certainly in the DA's office, that he's loved every minute of being in the county and being with the county. He said over the years, he said, I've had an opportunity to see a lot of kids grow up and come to work. I've worked with their parents, and I've seen their kids grow up and come to work for Tarrant County. So as you see him today, also please give him congratulations for his 25 years of service. 645 years of service recognized there. We appreciate each and every one of you very, very much. We thank you for the dedication to your job, but equally to the dedication of the citizens that you serve. And you don't take it lightly. And because you don't, I feel like we've got one of the best counties in this nation and certainly in this state to work in. And it's because of folks like you that it is such a great place to work. Refreshments, 504C back here. We'll take a break for just a second and let you head back this way. We always hope there's refreshments.
Alan didn't even come to work today.
What?
Alan's not even in the office.
We're live.
Hey, Jerry.
Got a minute? How you doing, sir?
Board members, you have before you the consent agenda.
Move for approval.
Approval
Second.
of the consent agenda except item 2 in purchasing.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item 2 in the purchasing area. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
That item was removed for 1 week.
Yes.
Yes, it was. Members of the Court, we have 2 items for you this morning. The first one concerns the revisions to the Electronic Communications Systems Policy. And ask Mr. Brunson to come forward to make a short presentation to the Court at this time.
Good morning, Your Honor, members of the Court.
Good morning.
We are asking for your approval of this request because it will allow IT to put a process in place for exempt employees to view their county Outlook, email, contacts, and calendaring information from a personal smartphone device, tap device. We're bringing the request because it does 3 things. The first one is that the end users are asking for it. The second is, to do this, we do need to have a process in place that allows us to manage it effectively and efficiently, and it will provide benefits to the county if we do this. We do have a process defined. If y'all approve this request, then we can go online by November the 15th. We know what type of devices that we can protect the data on, which means that if somebody loses their device, we can send a signal out that will wipe the device back to its factory settings. And then this is the acknowledgement form that we will ask the employees to sign, the exempt employees to sign before they are given the connection instructions, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you for your time.
Move approval of the new policy.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Members of the Court, on item number 2, we're requesting that the Commissioners' Court concur with actions of the Hospital District's Board of Managers and approve a contract between TCHD and Westland Construction. This is relating to work that is associated with JPS Professional Office Complex, which is Phase 3. It's the cardiology project. The total amount of this contract, the guaranteed maximum amount is $1,624,000, and funds are available in the district's FY11 budget.
Move approval.
Second.
Those are very close bids.
They really are.
Very, very narrow difference.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Court.
Move to receive and file personnel agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file personnel agenda. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. We have one additional item for the court. We're asking the court to approve organizational changes for public health. Public health is requesting permission to create an exempt project position to help support electronic medical software applications. There is no impact to the general fund.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith?
Good morning, court members.
Morning.
We're requesting approval of Amendment Number 4 in the revised fiscal year 2011 financial plan with the Texas Conference of Urban Counties for Integrated Justice Tech Share project.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Come on down, Mr. Skinner. Please, Dad, I'm going to make Ms. Lamb come on down and present this since her name's up there.
Good morning, members of the court. We are requesting your approval of 12 renewal agreements with the City of Arlington related to projects contained in the 2006 Transportation Bond Program.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Court members, you have before you, are there any appointments?
I have one.
Okay.
Appointment to the Board of, need appointment to the City of Euless Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone, number 3. Would like to appoint Carolyn Sims.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Court members, you have before you the claims, including the addendum.
Move approval of the claims, including the addendum.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Briefing items, Mr. Maynes?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
We will now recess our open session and proceed to closed session to discuss items exempted under
You have wooden houses?
Hardy plank.
Love that part of you. Having returned from closed session and there being no business to conduct at this time, we are adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you.